Hello and welcome to the Conversation Is podcast. I'm Charlie Pitson and with me today is
Tom Cocklin, otherwise known as El Jefe White Ink. Your boy.
Your boy, yeah. We work together.
Demons.
We work together.
We work together at Yard Bar and Kitchen. Hey demons, it's me.
Yes. Are you ready to do
Your boy. I'm very much ready. We're doing one of my favourite films, one of my favourite films of all time, one of my top 3 favourite films of all time.
And what is that?
It's Goodfellas.
Directed by Martin Scorsese.
Directed by the man himself, Martin Scorsese. Genius.
The man with the eyebrows, you know.
The man with the
not
eyebrows.
Eugene Levy from American Pie.
The other guy.
The other guy, the director. Alright, let's get started.
Let's begin.
Yeah, Goodfellas only.
Goodfellas. What a film. What an absolute film this is. Art, Charlie, is what I'd call it.
As you said earlier, it's like a painting, isn't it? It's almost as if like...
Yeah, every shot looks like a painting. This is why I think this is why I love Scorsese so much. And this is going to sound really poncy, but speaking as someone who's kind of an actor, I guess, someone who studies drama.
You are an actor.
We'll call me an actor for the sake of the podcast, but yeah, someone who does acting. Yeah, this is you're watching guys like De
Wise
Niro.
guys.
Yeah, watching watching guys like De Niro and
Joe Pesci,
Ray Liotta doing their thing, and
Frank Vincent, Paul Sorvino,
geniuses, absolute geniuses with what they do. Lorraine Bracco, yeah, all so talented.
Pretty much everyone in this film was in The Sopranos as well.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. So the guy playing Spider was in The Sopranos as well, and as we were speaking about earlier, there's a little Easter egg in The Sopranos where he says, where I believe he shoots somebody in the foot or the leg.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And he says, "Oh, you'll get over it," which is a little Easter egg from this. So yeah, it's really, really all intertwined. This kind of Italian-American gangster genre is something that I've always loved so much. Just watching, incredible to see, you know?
Yeah. Do you reckon it's kind of similar to like The Wolf of Wall Street though?
Yeah,
in terms of like how it's structured and just kind of how everything unfolds, and it just kind of goes like manic towards the end, and he's like getting chased on the helicopters. He's like, you know, off his face on cocaine. There's also this scene we're watching right now because we put it on, and it's when I can't remember the wife's name.
Christ,
for the love of me,
Karen.
Karen Hill. So when she wakes up Henry with the gun in his face, it kind of reminds me of the whole. Venice, you know, the who.
Oh, yeah.
What are you, a fucking owl?
What are you, a fucking owl?
Yeah. It's kind of the same. It's the same thing. Like,
totally. The shot is, it could be from the same film. It could absolutely be from the same film, because you get that shot of Margot Robbie kneeling over the top of Leonardo DiCaprio, going, you know, who is Venice and all this.
Who's Venice? Who? No, it's what reminds me when I watched The Wolf of Wall Street for like the third time or whatever, and I rewatched Goodfellas, and I thought, fuck, it's the same film, and it's not in a bad way. Like they're both respectably amazing films, but it's just kind of like. The stories unfold in the same kind of way.
Yeah, you definitely see.
You know, they're both criminals, and they both kind of sell everyone out towards the end. Well, Jordan Belfort doesn't, does he? It's more.
Belfort doesn't. Obviously, Belfort doesn't mean to sell everybody out, but he kind of has to.
He has to stop himself get like a reduced sentence, and then
stop himself going to prison for 25 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do, and you see Henry Hill rat them all out at the end of it, but
which is the most awful part of the film.
Oh my God,
it makes me so angry, even though like you're supposed to hate all these kind of characters. You just kind of you feel bad for De Niro and Sorvino and stuff, because like
you could write about this kind of, do you know what I mean? Like you could write about the way these characters make you feel. This kind of such a massive emphasis put on the anti-hero that he always does. So look at films like Casino. You look at this. You look at like you say, The Wolf of Wall Street. Mean Street. I've never seen Mean Street.
Kind of Taxi Driver as well, but you haven't seen that.
No, I've not seen that either.
Raging Bull a little bit,
yeah,
because he does beat his wife.
You want a happy? No, but you do. You want a happy ending for Jake LaMotta. You want a happy ending for Jake LaMotta.
You want him to win.
You want him to win, and he doesn't. And I think that's kind of the striking reality that Scorsese really concentrates on about in his films. That, you know, you can have all these beautiful things, but it ain't gonna last forever. Yeah, and it's not forever.
You can have all the money in the world, you have all the power in the world, but yeah, you know, everything comes down. It kind of bites you on the ass towards the end. You know?
100%.
I mean, they do live like lives of luxury for fucking decades. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Isn't it like 20 years in Goodfellas, or was it
something like that?
Well, it's not. It's not actually. No, that's not that long, is it?
Well, I don't think it's far off that. I don't think it's far off that.
Because he's supposed to be 21.
Yeah, that's
so
a joke.
when Ray. It's like a whole discussion we had about The Irishman as well, wasn't it? You know,
my god, the difference
the
in
fact
age.
that fucking Ray Liotta is supposed to be 21 when he first appears in the film,
and he's looking,
and he looks about 35 because
he's the oldest looking fucking 21-year-old I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's all the stress from being a gangster. That's
It's
what
this
it
one.
is.
Yeah.
Same with The Irishman, isn't it? De Niro playing a 20 or 28-year-old.
It's something like that. 20.
Well, he's playing a 28-year-old in this, and he's about 40, almost 50.
Oh yeah.
30 years ago
as well. Pesci's so old in this, and he's playing somebody who is meant to be of the same age.
Yeah.
As Ray Liotta's character, it's crazy. Absolutely.
Oh, is he supposed to be the same age?
Yeah. So
Joe Pesci's Tommy is supposed to be 21.
Yeah, Tommy is supposed to.
Tommy DeVito is 21.
Tommy DeSimone is supposed to be the same age or there or thereabouts as Henry Hill. Because obviously you see in the beginning of the film when he meets him, he introduces him. Robert De Niro's character?
Yeah, Jimmy Conway. Yeah.
Jimmy Conway introduces him to Ray Liotta's character, Henry Hill, and he says, "Yeah, so this is Tommy D. He'll do whatever." And they're supposed to be at least of a similar age. And Christ, he was 50.
Almost 50, yeah.
Almost 50.
It's absolutely shocking.
It's crazy.
I didn't know that. That's weird.
Well, that would appear to be a Scorsese problem. When you want to work with the same actors over and over and over again, these people are going to get old.
It's also the fact that like he's not just. It's not just that he's casting them in these roles where it's obvious that they should have cast younger people to play younger versions of them.
Yeah, just get someone younger. There are so many talented young actors. I'm trying to plug myself. There are so many.
Yeah.
There are so many talented.
Scorsese, please hire him.
Hello, Martin Scorsese.
For what? What's the Killers of the Flower Moon? His new film, I think.
Oh Christ!
Which actually has De Niro and DiCaprio. So we finally get them together.
I mean, it's incredible that they're getting together, but I hope with all my heart that Robert De Niro plays somebody who's a bit more his age, because I can assure you, watching a 75-year-old, 80-year-old De Niro in
The Irishman,
trying to beat somebody
30 when he was what was it when he's in the World War II,
30, 40, 50.
and then obviously he's like 30, his late 30s, early 40s when he beats up the shopkeeper, and yeah, it's weird seeing him play like late 30s, early 40s, being a shopkeeper, and it's the way he kicks him.
It's crazy.
I know obviously he's old and there's no other way, but they could have had like someone fill in and just
have someone fit. Just have a body double, for Christ's sake. Have somebody who can just
anyone. Yeah,
I don't even care. Like The Irishman was a decent film, but
it was great. It was.
Do you know what it was, Charles? For me, it was a film. It was a film. It was certainly a film.
Very fucking long one.
Very fucking long one.
No complaints. I mean, I love long fucking films.
Oh, do you know what it is for me, Charlie? I'm a bit of a Philistine when it comes to this kind of issue. So, unless you're making a film about something that's had a massive influence and impact on the world and the way we see things in the world, doesn't really constitute being 3.5 hours long. No. So when when Steven Spielberg made Schindler's List, and obviously that's something ridiculous, like 3 hours and 15 minutes long, you're watching that film going, okay, I understand this is a long film, but I need to sit here and watch it because it's about the Holocaust. Yeah. Which is obviously a very important thing that we all must learn about, because it was dreadful. It was a dreadful thing that happened in the world. We need to learn it. Unfortunately, a gangster from Chicago, or he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Gangster from Philadelphia. As much as, yes, I'm sure he had an impact on Philadelphia and gangland and whatnot, it's not quite as big a deal as the Holocaust. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's...
It doesn't constitute being that long. No film in the world constitutes being 3.5 hours fucking long. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's artsy. It's what Scorsese wants to do now. He wants to be an artist and make.
He's always been a bit of an artist, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, like we were talking about.
He's been fighting to preserve, film for years. I think he started up the I can't remember what for the life of me it was called. I think it's the National Registry for Film or Motion Pictures or something like that. So like
something like that.
National Film Registry. Yeah, I think it was set up by. I believe it was set up by Martin Scorsese, or he has a kind of like a huge kind of part within that kind of registry. But yeah,
I don't know, Charles. As much as, you know what, I love Scorsese, and yes, he is an artist, and you know some of the shots he creates. Like, take what we're watching right now. We're just currently watching the prison scene where they're slicing the garlic. With
Charles Scorsese is in it as well. He's the one stirring the sauce.
Big shout out to Vinny. That's his name, Vinny.
Vinny
His name's Vinny. Big shout out to Vinny. Makes a fantastic tomato sauce from what I hear.
Haven't tried it myself, but
neither have I.
I wouldn't mind trying the recipe.
Yeah,
like they do on have you ever heard of Binging with Babish?
I have heard of Binging.
Yeah.
I've actually seen that episode where they do the Goodfellas prison sauce, and it looks fantastic. He does say in it though that slicing the garlic that thin doesn't really make much difference, unfortunately.
No. It's more of just how it looks, and
yeah,
I think it was
it's
more
aesthetic, isn't it?
It was a nice little kind of inclusion to the film, just to be kind of like, oh look, this is how precise and the art of cooking.
Yeah, the art of cooking, and with, like another bit we've just seen is a bit where he shows him the red wine, and he says, "Oh, well now we can eat." That shows how much they are really, really, and I don't know, it might be a bit of an Italian stereotype, but how much they really are engaged in the making of food, and you know how much it
just
means
the culture as well, you know, because there are Italian Americans, and you know, I think they obviously they maybe not so much them, but their fathers or fathers before them, they kind of came to America, and they just kind of want to preserve this, you know, way of living. Yeah,
there's almost a purity to it, isn't there? There's a level of purity to it, but. Yeah, it's just it is artistic, and obviously that's his gig, that's Scorsese's gig. But a 3.5 hour film is still a joke, Charlie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. I know. I'm trying to defend it because I absolutely loved it, but
Charlie, don't get me wrong, man. I really liked it as well, but fucking hell, 3.5 hours. Do you know what you could do in 3.5 hours?
You could do Goodfellas and then another hour of Goodfellas.
You could do an hour exactly. This is what I mean. You could do Goodfellas. I mean,
this film's quite long. It's 2.5 hours.
But Charlie, it's such a massive difference. It didn't help. It probably didn't help that I watched it with my elderly grandfather, who falls asleep the moment anybody's not been talking to him for about 4 seconds. That probably didn't help, so I was having to watch the film trying to drown out the sounds of him going everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So
that's the thing though, because The Wolf of Wall Street is 3 hours long, and that doesn't feel like a task to get through. It breezes through so quickly because the pacing is incredible.
The pacing's incredible.
It's just The Irishman felt like more of a
high octane.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
it's The Irishman isn't the same.
The Irishman is not. I mean, it's better than Silence, and that's.
Do you know, that's another one of Philistine again. I've never seen Silence, so I couldn't tell you. But I'm really.
Do you want to say silent on that then?
Yeah. I see what you did there. But yeah, I'll stay silent on that one. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's 3.5 hours is a fucking joke. Like,
it's a fucking joke. Yeah.
It's like that's the longest film I've ever seen. And if I could, do you know what the thing is? If it wasn't Scorsese, I'd have never in my life sat down to watch.
Even think about
sit down to watch a film that was 3.5 hours fucking long.
Yeah, well, you need to watch Once Upon a Time in America then. Well, with De Niro, 4 hours and 15 minutes, I think.
4 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, very long. Yeah, it's a very long film. I think it's set in 1800s.
What in the world could possibly happen in a film in 4 hours? Like
a lot of just fucking walking, I guess. It's kind of like The Lord of the Rings, you know, like. We can all sit around and be like, Lord of the Rings are masterpieces, but still, it's still a bunch of people walking through a volcano.
Yeah, I think this is what it is. Like, I don't know, like I say, is someone who does like the kind of more high-octane stuff in terms of film, yeah, trying to sit down and watch a film that's 3.5 hours long is crazy.
And it's weird because you can, if you've ever seen any of his kind of like influences, you know, like Fellini and...
I haven't. No, do you know what it is, Charlie? I'm very new to really taking where filmmakers and directors and producers get their kind of ideas from. I'm really new to it, and new to taking an interest in it. So no, I can't say I have. But tell me more anyway.
Well, so for me, one of my favorites is Federico Fellini. and he has obviously La Dolce Vita, an 8.5, and for me this film kind of takes a lot of influence from the way that those films were kind of shot, and I think his love for like Italian cinema and the lengths that those films were, I feel like he needs to put his stamp on that. And I think the only way he feels like he could possibly do it is by making these very long films. But like, he is kind of the king of it,
Yeah, no.
And I'm not saying like, oh, these films are too long. There are directors who make way longer films. But
I mean, I couldn't name you one. Spielberg likes a long film, bless him.
He's only got a few.
Well, look, I say, man,
I mean, most of his films are about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours.
Fucking Schindler's List, man.
It's a very long film, that is.
Schindler's List is a super long film, but Schindler's List documents perfectly the life of who must be like one of the best human beings of all time. Do you know what I mean? Oscar Schindler's got to be up there with the greatest people.
Well, next to Gary Coleman, obviously.
Who the fuck is Gary Coleman?
Different Strokes.
Oh, yeah. What you talking about?
What you talking about, Willis?
Oh, that yeah, well, that guy. Yeah, I think it kind of goes Gary Coleman,
Oscar Schindler, Jesus,
Gandhi,
Martin
Luther King,
and then Henry Hill.
Yeah, but
the goodest fella of all.
the goodest fella, the goodest boy you ever did see, the goodest fella you
the
ever
wisest
did see.
guy you ever met.
The wisest. Yeah, the wisest of men. But yeah, even look at this bit we're looking at now, right? So you see Paul Sorvino here. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. The one, I don't know how much sort of guidance Scorsese gave him in this scene, but you could see anger in the guy's eyes. Obviously, he's a fantastic actor, but that coming back, do you know what I mean? I feel like I've just slagged off Scorsese for making a long film.
No,
so far.
Yeah, we're not slagging off Scorsese. we're having a discussion about, and obviously these things need to be spoken about.
Yes, Martin, if you are listening, I'm definitely not slagging you off. And should you be making another film soon, I'd certainly like a part in it. Thank you very much.
Preferably a lead role.
Preferably a lead role.
No, it's one of those things you can't just sit back and talk about a film without kind of discussing its fault, because there's no real kind of chat there. So
yeah,
you have to kind of admit that not everything's perfect, and you have to nitpick a little bit.
Oh, totally.
Just to kind of
But then if you ask me to see fault with Goodfellas, I don't know if I could find you one. Genuinely.
Yeah, there isn't. I don't think there is a fault with Goodfellas. Goodfellas is a perfectly crafted film, and it's possibly one of the greatest films in the last 50 years by far, probably in the top 10.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's not just my favourite films, it's definitely one of my top 5.
Yeah, it's my top 3. So my top 3 consists of 3 kind of different ideas. I had to have an American film in there somewhere. Americans and sort of American directors. We got Tarantino and Scorsese, these 2 guys who have played such a massive part. Excuse me. Who played such a massive part in film, especially in the last 20, 30 years. You have to give a nod to them. This film is a work of art. But then my other 2, In the Name of the Father and This Is England, they're obviously done by British people. I don't know if In the Name of the Father was directed by a Brit.
In the Name of the Father, I've heard of it, but I'm not quite sure.
Absolutely incredible film. It's about the Guildford Fall.
Okay.
So
is this Daniel Day-Lewis?
This is Daniel Day-Lewis, yeah.
I knew it. I was thinking him, and I was like, okay, I don't want to mess up with okay.
Yeah, man.
Director, I'm not quite sure.
I don't know the director either, but Christ alive, Daniel Day-Lewis in that film is just jaw-dropping. Pete Postlethwaite as well, jaw-dropping in it. Emma Thompson, really, really good in it. Some really talented people, not only in the film, and the film makes... It perfectly shines a light on just how devious. Let's call it devious. Just how devious that the British policing and British enforcement systems were at the time.
Yeah.
So they really have this massive sort of concentration on the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which is still legal now. Which is where you can legally detain somebody for 7 days without charging them. So you can bring somebody in for questioning. And as you see in the Name of the Father, in the Name of the Father, is they just beat the living daylights out of Daniel Day-Lewis's character, Jerry Conlon, and they just beat him up and torture him essentially for 7 days until he just says, "Yeah, I did it." He says, yeah, I did it, and they didn't do it. And there's 4 of them, and they all are sort of forced into confessing to doing it when they had no part to play in it. But yeah, that's absolutely incredible film. This is England, kind of.
Shane Meadows,
that's right. Goes without even saying. One of the people, I mean, the guy, Stephen Graham,
who was in The Irishman.
Who was in The Irishman, and is probably the shining light. One of the shining lights of The Irishman.
Tony Pro, was 15 minutes late to a meeting in shorts.
Yeah, man, that's right. Turns up in shorts. You
cocksucker.
Yeah. Turns up, yeah, and it is just absolutely wonderful. And he is a wonderful actor, Stephen Graham.
Did you know he was in Gangs of New York?
I didn't know.
No, Scorsese, yeah, he was in that. He's a quite small role in it, but it's not his first. Obviously, I thought The Irishman was his first role with Scorsese, and I was kind of like, okay, this guy's gone far.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched The Gangs of New York, actually knowing who Stephen Graham was at the time, because I haven't watched this for years. I used to watch it with my dad when I was a kid. He was always on. But yeah, what an incredible actor, man.
Oh my god, absolutely insane. What, like I say, I mean, when he's surrounded by all these massive names, Pesci, De Niro, Pacino, and he still manages to rise above them.
Yeah. And
show just how talented he is. Not only does that make me proud as a young actor who, I mean, as you can tell by my accent, didn't grow up in a similar place, but certainly grew up in similar surroundings. Yeah. Stephen Graham, who grew up as a working class fella from Kirby near Liverpool, or in Liverpool, and yeah, just incredible. It gives me a lot of hope. Do you know what I mean? Because it is so incredible to see this guy acting alongside people that I love. And it makes me think,
and probably people he grew up.
He grew up.
He's probably his idols,
Yeah, man, totally. And I mean, Christ, he's such a talented bloke. But yeah, This is England is another absolute work of art. Just watching it, going, Christ alive, this is so real and gritty and raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my top 3 favourite films. Yeah,
it's pretty good. That's a pretty good list.
It's not a bad list. It's not a bad. It could definitely part.
And that's kind of why we picked this over The Irishman, because we were going to do The Irishman, but we kind of thought that it needed a few more viewings before we can really.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
delve deep into the story itself, because it's such a long film.
Like
we've said 7,000 times.
Like we have said 7,000
in the last 20 minutes.
In the last 20 minutes, it's a super fucking long film.
And
so to be fair,
to do Goodfellas and stuff.
Yeah, which isn't quite as long. But then again, Charlie, neither of us had 5.5 months spare to watch the film 6 times. So. And that's probably about as long as you need to watch it many times anyway. So yeah, it's bless him.
Also, that this film's been out 30 years this year.
30 years.
October. So
that is crazy, isn't it? Before me and you were even twinkles in our father's eyes, Charlie. 30 whole years, my friend, But I think that says enough about it as well. It says enough that 30 years down the line, I'm still watching this film, and you're still watching this film going, well, it's in my top 3, it's in your top 5. I think that
and we weren't even born when it came out. It says a lot about his kind of legacy,
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
It's possibly... it's possibly the best Martin Scorsese film in terms of just, if you had to pick every single one of his films, his feature kind of... Not his documentaries or any of the other things he's done, just his feature films. This is possibly his best overall, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think overall, yeah. Do you know what I've banged on about my top 3 favourite films, but I've left Casino out of that. I've left Wolf of Wall Street out of that. I've left. Raging Bull out of that, and all 3 of those films.
Raging Bull, could be regarded as the best one.
I mean, Raging Bull certainly could be. I was in a lecture the other day, and we were shown the opening credits from Raging Bull, where they've got the classical piece of music, and you just see Jake LaMotta shadow boxing in the ring, and it's just you are watching it going, Christ alive, this is fucking something special. Do you know what I mean? This is really.
It's a very
special.
Intense film as well.
Oh, it is really intense, really, really intense. I think the fact it's black and white as well it does give it a certain feeling about it, and a certain kind of.
I think it wasn't supposed to be shot like. I wouldn't say it's shot kind of like a documentary in a way, because it's not, but it feels like shooting black and white was probably the best choice, because it is set in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the idea to shoot it in black and white is definitely a better idea than having it in colour, because, like I say, the black and white is so striking as well. Is when you see a black and white film, like, again, Schindler's List, you are going, fucking hell, like, this is really, like, there has to be a massive artistic element to this.
It's all down to lighting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And kind of getting the shadows right, and just kind of getting, it's really hard to set it's really hard to set the scene with black and white, because obviously you've got all these lighting problems, but nailed it.
Yeah,
Schindler's List as well. Isn't Schindler's List kind of pot colour though?
So interesting thing about Schindler's List.
This is becoming more about Schindler's List, but this
is definitely not a podcast about Schindler's List.
We'll do that. I'm going to do that eventually.
We'll do that another time. I'll be on there again. Steven Spielberg, if you're listening to any of this, I'll definitely be on that one too. But there's the little flashes of colour, and the message of it always really stayed in my mind. So there's I think it's 2 or 3 pieces of colour in Schindler's List, excluding that final scene where you have the people who Schindler saved go into the actors who played. So I don't remember what it is, but there are people who were saved by Schindler going around. That's it. Going to Schindler's headstone that is in Israel somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the final piece, which is in colour. But then there's 2 other flashes of colour. It's the little girl who's got the red coat on.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of like that's the poster shot there.
Yeah. So there's that one scene where Schindler's on a mountain or a hill or something, and he's looking over, and you see the little girl in the red coat running around, and then unfortunately you see the little girl in the red coat going onto the pile of people who are about to be incinerated. Spielberg said about it when asked, he said, "Why, why are these 2 things in colour?" And he said something to the kind of idea of, I did this little girl in colour to show that everybody was an individual. Everybody was individual in their own right in this. We lost so many individuals, but it all kind of just falls under this 6 million people tag,
Yeah. I think they could have done something like that with The Irishman, I think it would have been a bit of a cop-out at the same time if they maybe shot some of the older, the younger shots where World War II, that could have been shot in black and white maybe, just to kind of give it that kind of emphasis on the time.
Because you're dropping someone in a time period that way.
And that way then, you might excuse the whole,
age thing.
Because you're like, okay, we understand that this is clearly set, at a certain time, because they've used black and white as kind of, but that also seems like, okay, that's a bit too obvious.
And it's not only, it's been done, hasn't it? It's been done. It's kind of back in the before the war, and
everything. Yeah, so
anything
pre-1960s is shot in the black and white. And
then, I mean, it is mental. But it's just moving away from Schindler's List, which is not what we want.
Let's just go back to Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Well,
Sam Jackson's just been killed.
AKA
Stax.
AKA Stax. Yeah.
Killed by Tommy.
Yeah, killed by Tommy. What's the line from Ted when I believe the lady doesn't know who Samuel L. Jackson is? Ted says he's the black guy in every film ever, or something like that.
Fuck's sake. I always forget he's in this because he has such a brief kind of appearance. It's probably one of his first kind of major.
I don't really know.
It's one of his first supporting roles.
When did Pulp Fiction come out?
Pulp Fiction was in 1993 or 4.
So Pulp Fiction wasn't too long after this.
He also did Jurassic Park as well.
Christ, see, that's one there. I completely forgot he was in Jurassic Park.
1993.
Completely forgot he was in Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park 1990? I always forget.
I don't know. That's Spielberg again. Popping up again. Spielberg.
Yeah, this is probably the most Spielberg chat we've probably ever had. I think this is also the first Scorsese film we've done. And
I feel bad. We should probably focus on him a bit more.
I've only done 30 episodes. and I could not tell you what they all were without looking at a list. So, as I say that this might be the first Scorsese film, it probably isn't. But definitely
didn't you do Parasite the other week?
Yeah, but that's Bong Joon-ho.
No. I know it's a different director, but I think we were speaking about it the other day that Scorsese said something quite striking to him, didn't he? I think he kind of said to him, this was really special.
It was more of like, he said something, I think he sent him a letter, but he also told him to rest.
Yeah.
And, rest, but don't rest too long because the world needs or something about.
Something like that.
We need to see another film of yours.
I've not even seen Parasite. Do you know what I mean? I've come on this podcast, as somebody who really does love films, and I've not even seen Parasite, which is what's been spoken about.
To be fair, it came out within the last 9 months, so it's not. There's a lot of films, to be watched.
There are a lot of films to be watched, man. I need to watch Silence, apparently. So.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of Scorsese films I have not seen myself. I haven't seen maybe one or two of his early films, like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and Boxcar Bertha.
You just.
I haven't seen Silence. I haven't seen The Aviator.
Do you know what?
It's quite a list. I've seen quite a fair amount, and he's one of my favorite directors. You've
probably seen the important ones, though. I think
I've seen the important ones only because I personally own them.
Yeah.
But once I can find, obviously, copies of his older films, I'll purchase them.
No, good, fantastic. And you must purchase them and not stream them illegally online.
Never stream them illegally online.
No.
Never
That's
did that.
terrible. Never. What is streaming?
You wouldn't steal a handbag. You wouldn't steal a TV.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't steal a movie.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? I was watching a stand-up comedian the other day. I think it might have been, do you know Ed Byrne? Irish guy. He's on Mock the Week a lot. And he
glasses?
Yes, glasses, long hair.
Kind of long hair.
And he does a little sketch about that where he says, "Oh, this music is so funky and cool. It makes me not want to go out and steal things." And he's talking about that dodgy thing. Do you know what I mean?
Possibly one of the greatest openings to any DVD.
Oh, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I think
probably the greatest opening to any film, really. A film isn't complete until you have that perfect piracy.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, and
it made me not want to pirate.
Yeah, and
I felt bad because I wouldn't steal a handbag or a car or keys or TV
whatever,
or
money.
Whatever. Yeah. So why would I steal a film?
Exactly. I think that's very important. And then, do you know what? I'm glad that the people at the British Copyright Broadcasting or whatever they're called could teach you that lesson, Charlie.
Yes,
I'm sure they'll listen to this and go, at least
fair play. Yeah,
at least we fucking reach one person.
There's 1% of people who just. Don't pirate,
who don't pirate, and took our advice and said no.
It was the world's smallest clap.
Yeah, the world's smallest with the two fingers. Just
anyway, we should probably get back to Goodfellas because this is probably the most off tangent we've gone.
Sorry, this is my fault.
It happens. It's just I've tried to keep. I've got to try and keep us on track.
No, thank you. This is my fault.
It's just so many things that need to be spoken about this film. And we usually kind of miss out a lot of things because we end up going on a long tangent, and it fills up a lot of time. And I feel like we really need to represent what this film is.
Okay, what do you think, Charlie? What do you want to say? And we'll talk. Because I
just want to talk about Joe Pesci.
You need to come out with some fucking gold. Now, Joe Pesci. You want to talk about Joe Pesci? What do you want to talk about? Joe Pesci being 50 years of age, trying to portray a 21-year-old man.
Yes.
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like I keep slagging off my favourite film of all time. I promise you that's not what I'm doing. I just find it a little bit laughable.
We're just joshing about, I just want to say Joe Pesci and his performance as Tommy.
I think it's fucking. It is insane.
One of my favourite characters of all time. And worthy, he won the Oscar for it as well.
Did he?
He did win the Oscar Best Supporting Actor.
Wow,
in 1991.
That actually says an awful lot.
I think he was the only. I believe, and I say believe because I can't prove this until I go and check Wikipedia right now. For its accolades. So he won for Best Supporting Actor, and all the other nominations didn't win. So it's the only win for Goodfellas.
Really? This was the only thing they got?
Nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Film Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress for Lorraine Bracco.
To be fair, if there was anybody who probably deserved it, it's probably Pesci in this. Unfortunately, Pesci may have became a little bit typecast after this. Obviously, with Casino,
and then Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Home Alone came out the same year, I think, as Goodfellas. Yeah.
Fuck off! No way, Home Alone.
I think Home Alone might have been either 89, 90, and then number 2 was 91, 92.
Wow, fucking hell. Well, This is what it was. It kind of made him probably a little bit typecast because obviously in Raging Bull he plays the sort of more mild, well-mannered, relaxed kind of guy because he's Jake LaMotte's brother, isn't he? He's a bit more relaxed than De Niro's character, but in this, fuck me, he is this absolutely outstanding. Sorry, we've just seen one of the funniest scenes from Goodfellas, where Rob De Niro goes and wakes up the policemen that are following him. Says, "Come on, fuck course, let's go for a ride." But yeah, sorry. Coming back to Joe Pesci, he does it so well. That bit we were talking about earlier, when they're in the restaurant.
The most iconic scene, isn't it? You know.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Funny how?
What? Like I'm a
like
clown?
A clown, like I amuse you.
Like I'm a clown, like I amuse you. Just after that, obviously that bit sort of encapsulates perfectly just how quickly Tommy DeSimone's character can flip. But also, you kind of see a couple of seconds later when the restaurant owner's saying, "Tommy, you owe me $7,000. You owe me $7,000. You owe me $7,000
the living shit out of him."
And he fucking bottles him.
He bottles him, yeah.
He fucking bottles him. He glasses him, and that's probably another sort of massive thing for Pesci in terms of how good he is at showing and sort of portraying that unhinged sort of wild card of a character.
Yeah,
because he just does it so well. We did it again in Casino, but then Casino has one of the.
Oh, Casino! One of the violence in Casino is.
I nearly threw up watching Casino for the first time.
Are you thinking about the Vice?
No. I'm talking about the Vice. I'm talking about when he beats up, when they fucking beat the fuck out of Joe Pesci's brother with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And then they bury him. Then they bury the two of them alive. It was. I was watching it going, "Oh my god, I think I'm gonna be sick."
Yeah.
Because
would you say that's his most? I would say that's probably his most violent film, Casino.
Yeah, I think so. I think after you show a scene where somebody's brother is being beat, where you're forcing someone to watch their own brother being beaten to death, that's probably the most violent one. And like you say, the fucking scene with the head in the vice is pretty fucking grisly.
That just kind of makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Because you can just see all the blood just push into the front of his face.
Yeah, his eyes popping out of his head. It's gross, disgusting. Man. Yeah, it's fucking gross. But yeah, coming back to Goodfellas, just absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding piece of film. We were talking a little bit earlier about the scene where they're all having dinner at Tommy's mum's house.
Yeah, with
and it just to show how iconic De Niro is that still how I do my ketchup? When I have a glass bottle for ketchup and I want to put ketchup on something, I do the rolling thing. And I must say, do you know what? To be fair to De Niro, he's hit the nail on the head because it works perfectly every time. Next time you got TGI Fridays, try it, and it is fucking fantastic.
The De Niro way, yeah.
The De Niro way. And do you know what it is? Every time I do it, somebody gives me a dirty look to say, "You fucking watched Goodfellas, haven't you? You've seen it a lot." And obviously the answer is yes, I have, yeah.
Go home and shine your fucking shoebox.
Go home and fucking get your shine box.
That's the one. Shine your shoebox. Fuck me, man. I can't quote things anymore.
It's been too long a day.
It's been too long of a day. Yeah.
It's been a fucking long day. Charlie's been awake for a really long time. But yeah, it's absolute work of art.
We forgot to say every time that they say the word fuck, which is at least 300 times in this film.
At least 300, yeah.
We have to take a drink.
We do. We've probably missed
We've missed a few, but I think we've just been doing it subconsciously.
I think we might have.
Because we know when it's going to come up. Because, there we go, there's one more.
There's one more, Charlie.
Two more.
Two more, fuck. That could be three more.
Right, what I want to do is a recurring segment, which is the only recurring segment we do.
Okay.
because they're the ones just kind of just don't fit in.
Okay.
So this one always serves a purpose, and I think it kind of gives a bit more an in-depth opinion against someone else's opinion.
Okay.
So the segment is called Rotten Reviews.
Okay.
And
Right.
it's where I'll read a rotten review,
Yeah.
and you kind of just bash a shit out of the comment if you feel
Okay,
like it,
yeah,
or if
man.
you agree, you agree, and
Okay.
that's what I want to do. So
All right, I feel that. I'm prepared. I'm prepped. I'm ready for it.
we'll get into that now. Right after Tommy just died.
Right after Tommy just dies, and it's fucking sad as
And
fuck.
isn't the one where Jimmy, before we do this, I just want to say, doesn't Jimmy somehow push the phone box over
Yes, he
completely?
does. Yes, he does.
That is not possible.
Oh, no, it is. It is. They're only fucking. I don't know. You must have been to America.
No, I've never been
Why
to
do you want to
America.
say that like such a Tory? Oh, you must have been to America, Charlie. It's lovely there. Obviously not that, but no, they're only fucking tiny over there, aren't they? They ain't got the big red ones like ours.
So how?
Because they're only tiny little flimsy things, aren't they? They're just glass cases.
But how does he push it over? Like how is it not built? Like
Because it's fucking Rob De Niro, man. He's a fucking tough. Look at him. He's a psychopath in this, for fuck's sake. Ready? We just watch it. They fucking whacked him.
fuck.
Ready? He's gonna start booting it. There we go. And that's one.
I
And he's
must
fucking pushed it over.
I take back what I said about the Irishman and the way Bob De Niro kicks, because he does the exact same thing in this film.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way Bob De Niro kicks. I think he's
Yeah,
just kind of got an
it's-
old man's kick.
Yeah, I think that might just be a thing about Rob De Niro. He's
It-
clearly never played a game
He's
of football
clearly
in
got
his
hip
life.
problems, you know. And
Yeah,
he's clearly been suffering for
Well,
a long time.
we mustn't be discriminatory on the show, Charlie. You
No.
know, fucking, no ableism on the show, my G. So, shouts to fucking Rob De Niro for being able to kick with his very obvious fucking hip problem. His very obvious sort of impairments on the hip.
And with that, we'll
We're
get
watching
on.
the most forced crying. Why am I slagging off my favourite film of all time? We're watching some of the best acting I've ever seen, to be fair, because it is Rob De Niro, but he is doing quite a forced cry. Carry on, though, with the reviews thing. I'm very...
I love that kind of abrupt, like...
Yeah,
and carry on.
I've just realised that I'm slagging off a film that I really
Yeah.
fucking love, so...
So what you're going to do instead, we're going to slag off what other people slag off.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're, in this way now, you can kind of redeem yourself by hopefully having a reverse opinion.
Hopefully so, yeah.
So let's crack on.
Let's begin.
Right, so I'm going to do the first one. And be honest. Be as honest as you can.
Okay.
Just really rip into shit if you have to. So
All right, yeah, that's fine.
the first
I
one
can do
comes from
that.
The Independent.
Yeah.
And it's Robert De Niro is reliably dynamic, and Joe Pesci's portrait of a gangster with a sense of humor is hideously memorable. But there's no doubt that Goodfellas fights a losing battle against numbness.
Against numbness?
Yes.
That's absolute bullshit.
That's asinine.
That's
What a comment.
what a way to
So
start.
this is the part where probably 40 to 45 minutes in that, we're only now really not shitting on it, but like, that's not really a fair kind
That's
of...
bullshit. That's a fucking lie.
I mean, the first few lines are fair.
Fights a losing battle against numbness. What the fuck does that even mean? What does it mean?
What is it? It doesn't mean anything.
Fights a losing battle
Do you
against
think?
numbness.
Do you think it means just kind of the pacing? Do you think they think the pacing's a bit slow?
Bollocks. That's fucking bullshit. I'm not being... Sorry about my language, but I'm not being funny. This film, right, and we slagged The Irishman.
The length, not the film, not the story, not the plot, not the characters, not the fucking cast, just the length.
We slagged The Irishman for its length. Now, if somebody said that about The Irishman, I'd totally understand. I'd understand if they said it's a bit numb, it's a bit feelingless, it's a bit fucking meh. If somebody when someone says this about this film, they clearly, very, very clearly, don't quite appreciate just how high octane, how interesting, how engaging all of it is. I mean, I don't really understand that. I don't think this film has ever made me go, oh well, meh.
So you never feel like, okay, this has kind of gotten to like a straight line.
No,
It's constantly going higher and higher.
Yes, this film is constantly going higher and higher.
And then it
higher.
kind of just
And then it
goes
has this-
through the roof. It gets to like the third act, and they're all on cocaine.
And it has this cataclysmic drop where he rats everybody out, and then he's just living life. In his own words, he gets to live life like a schnook. And that is just the perfect way to end this film. Don't do bad things, everybody, because it will come back around to bite you on the fucking arse. That comment is just so fucking small-minded. They must be
numb.
And numb. Yeah, that comment is numb. That comment's made me numb. It's made me go, well, meh, fuck off. But yeah, it's just like look at what we were watching.
It's this kind of like when he brings the handheld into it, and all these like close-ups of like
look at that.
Ray Liotta just kind of
just smashed a massive line of fucking ching, and he's wired, bless him. He's wired, and this is a perfect focus on how numb this film isn't. This film is not numb.
The only thing numb is them.
Yeah, no, they must be numb. Well, their fucking gums are fucking numb. I think that's the only thing, isn't it? I think they're going, Christ alive. I
think this is kind of where like I appreciate the Wolf of Wall Street more for his pacing and kind of how it's a bit more entertaining. It's only because of kind of his lifestyle was a bit more. Jordan Belfort was a bit more of a party animal.
Yeah,
and he was living in like the decade where like Quaaludes were like this massive thing, and Goodfellas is kind of all about cocaine and just kind of living.
But still, I guess there's probably less of an emphasis on drugs than there is in the Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street kind of plays
has this massive emphasis on
drugs.
But
that's because of kind of
who Jordan Belfort was.
Yeah, if you've read the book,
which I haven't,
the book is incredible.
I'm sure.
I'm in no ways promoting it because I don't believe that Jordan Belfort should be kind of making profit off anything. It's like, so if he made quite a bit on the film. And I think he recently sued some of the producers of the film because of the whole Malaysian money thing. That's how they funded the film, this like Malaysian fund, and it was all illegal. And I think they took DiCaprio and Scorsese and everyone to court. All the producers of the film, and I think Belfort's doing the same thing. And it's kind of, I just don't know. I don't.
Fuck right off. Fuck Jordan Belfort for that, man. What a dick. He's gone. He's
trying to do it, and I think he illegally made profit on the film when he shouldn't. I don't know the logistics of it.
What a knob, man. He's made fucking. He said, "Oh yeah, go on then, make a film about my life." But yeah, I'm probably gonna ping you for this in fucking 4 years. Bullshit.
Yes,
arsehole.
I'll get into that a bit more when I do that episode. Because, This is all about Goodfellas.
Yeah, So fuck that comment.
Fuck that comment.
It's fucking wrong. It's wrong. This film is high octane, exhilarating, engaging, interesting. Everything you could ever ask from a film. It gives you this perfect up and down. It gives you such a beautiful. There's a melancholy feeling to it at the end.
He gets caught. He
gets caught. We're just watching the bit now where he's getting caught and he's getting fucking interrogated. And he's so painfully, clearly strung out on gear and has been for a long time. Fuck that comment, basically.
Let's move on to the next one then.
Yep.
By the way, there's only 4. There's only 4 rotten reviews out of... I can't really see with the rest of them, but like 4, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a rating of 96%.
Do you know what? I think that's about right. I think the only thing anybody could ever really slag off about this film, even though I personally think it's faultless, the only thing anybody should really ever be able to slag off about this film is how realistic is it all. How much of it's been taken?
I think this film is probably closer to the truth than The Irishman.
Yeah, I think so.
Not so much as in Wolf of Wall Street. I think The Wolf of Wall Street, I think that's why it's enjoyed more, and a lot more people kind of...
Well, Wolf of Wall Street's a bit more everyman, isn't it? Wolf of Wall Street, you don't really... You have to concentrate to figure out what's happening, but Wolf of Wall Street, you don't really have to have... high levels of concentration. You can not pay attention to Wolf of Wall Street and understand what's happening. I think with this,
it kind of has that. It has that kind of like a pacing on it. This one,
need to understand what's happening with this film.
So the second one is from People magazine, and it's while Scorsese generates vivid images.
Yeah.
He covered this ground in the superb mean streets in 1973. Here, there's nothing to learn, nobody to sympathise with.
Bullshit.
I know you haven't seen Mean Streets, but you don't have to worry about that comment so much. But
I mean, I'm gonna.
There is nobody to sympathise with. There's no one to sympathise.
They
don't want you to sympathise. You don't want to sympathise with Henry Hill.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
These are not likeable people.
I'm not being fucking Henry Hill is right. As much as Henry Hill, yes, towards the end, it probably isn't quite as likeable. Yeah, we were discussing it earlier. We are fucking sad when he rats people out.
Yeah.
You watch Paulie get taken away by the police, and you're going, fucking hell, I don't want him to go to prison, bless him. And the ending credits, when they say Paul Sorvino died of a respiratory cancer or whatever in prison.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I was watching that going, oh, that's actually really sad. As much as Paulie's done bad things, yeah, Paulie's contributed to a really terrible...
I think he's the kind of only character you probably would sympathise with.
I don't know as well.
Jimmy
a bit, I guess. Jimmy's a bit of an arsehole because of the whole Robin thing, and
Tommy's death. Were you sad when Tommy died?
I wasn't quite. I was sad. The only reason I was sad when Tommy died was because of the line where they say they even shot him in the face, so his mother couldn't give him an open casket at the funeral.
Yeah,
that was a bit where I was like, oh fuck. Really sad.
I think he got what was coming to him though.
Oh, massively.
He did some terrible things.
When you shoot like that scene when he's shooting Spider to death because he didn't make his drink quickly enough. Like, yeah, what an arsehole. I think that's another one that's absolute fucking horse shit. They're clearly not tuning into the film as much as they should be. This scene here, so literally look at what we've got on screen right now. The man is sleeping with a gun in his hand. We've just come away from the scene where he says the words, I had this terrible feeling that I was going to leave prison and get killed straight away.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it doesn't matter who that is, unless it's somebody really, really terrible.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, fucking hell.
But it's the thing is, it's like it doesn't matter how close or how much of a family they are. I'm putting on quotes right now.
Family, yeah.
You're never safe.
No,
you're never safe in this kind of lifestyle. If you do one wrong thing and you're walking on eggshells because you think you're going to get whacked.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he spends the last half hour kind of
scared about getting killed.
Yeah. Is it half hour? I'm not quite sure.
But look at this now.
Spends the last half hour just kind of he's speaking to everyone. I think he takes money from Paulie and
look now. You're all I've got, Paulie. You're all I've got. Look at how much does that mean? Paul Sorvino, look at this. He gives him fucking what is it? $3 grand. We'll see in a second. Wait there. Right there.
It's the bit. Is it where Jimmy is trying to take get Karen to go into this building, and then she kind of walks off, and because she's also afraid that she's going to get whacked, and she probably would have been.
Yeah. They would have popped her. Well, they say that in the last scene, don't they? They say, this is the only way you can keep yourself and your family safe.
Yeah. Doesn't he borrow?
Here we go. It's the $3,200. $3,200. He's just given a life. There we go. That's what he gave me for a lifetime. Henry Hill dedicated all of his fucking life to Paulie.
Yeah.
How can you not feel for him? He's a young lad who's been dragged into this gangster. Well, not dragged, admittedly. He wanted to be part of it.
He does say,
he wanted to be a gangster.
As far back as I knew I always wanted to be a gangster, or however the quote goes. I probably messed that one up again.
But yeah, I that's another fucking... I'm sorry, I'm not saying this just to be controversial, but again, fuck that comment, because it's just wrong. Again, you have to feel for these people. It doesn't matter what they've done. Jordan Belfort
I think that's the kind of the problem. They weren't feeling for it, so they didn't latch on to these characters.
They're fucking wrong, Charlie.
They couldn't see the humanity in these characters.
No,
some of them. Tommy definitely just doesn't have an ounce of humanity in him.
You're not looking at Tommy going.
Same with Jimmy. For me, my main focus of sympathy is on Karen,
the kids, Tommy's mum,
Henry, Tommy's mum.
Tommy's mum. You feel terrible for Tommy's mum
and Paulie, because as we said, he's done some terrible things, but you know, in the end,
he's just
he's
an old
always
guy
been there
who's
for
gonna-
Henry. You know,
Yeah, he looked after fucking Henry. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be controversial, but again,
sorry, People Magazine, fuck
People,
that comment.
fuck you, People Magazine. Get someone else to watch the Ross Clark film because fuck off, man.
So we got the third one is from Variety, and it's just 4 words: colourful, but dramatically unsatisfying.
What does that mean? Dramatically unsatisfying.
I'm sorry. As I say this, we're on the scene now where Jimmy tells Karen to go into this building, and then this is kind of where she knows that if she enters that building, she's gonna get killed.
Do you remember the first time you watched this film?
How is this not dramatically? How is this dramatically unsatisfying?
Do you remember the first time you watched this film?
Yeah.
Do you remember being fucking scared for her life?
Yeah, I thought she was gonna die.
Yeah. You see this, look at this bit. Run down fucking building, you're looking at it going, oh my fucking God, she is going to die, they're going to kill her, and that's going to be the end of it. Bang, turn, face 2 men, look back at Jimmy, Jimmy's saying go inside, she's not going inside, she's fucking scared, she knows something's up, and running away. Because how the fuck is that dramatically unsatisfying?
That's one of the most intense
What do they
sequences.
fucking want? Do they want her to die? Do they want her to die? Do they want a mother to die? I'm sorry, dramatically unsatisfying is not a way to describe this film. Like I previously said, it has everything. Every single thing you could ever want from a film. Sadness, moments of jubilation, a really great plot line. I mean, obviously it's taken from a true story, but a really great plot line. The shots are artistic. Fear, threat, dread. It's got everything.
I mean, the drama really does kick in full force in Act 3. But
Dramatically unsatisfying is such a load of horse shit. Colourful, totally, 100%. Colourful is a great way of describing it, but fuck me. Fucking dramatically unsatisfying. Fuck me. Dramatically unsatisfying is bullshit. It's nearsighted. It's short-sighted. Dramatically unsatisfying. Do you know what this all sounds like to me, Charles? It sounds like artsy-fartsy critics who are going, well, I'm sorry, but, you know, there's no grand piano in any of this, so we shan't like it.
Do you feel like it's kind of like one of those Pulp Fiction things where it's kind of bad to like Pulp Fiction now? Like if someone turned on and said,
Is it bad to like Pulp Fiction now? I don't know.
Well, there's kind of like, I won't say there's like a taboo against it, but there's definitely kind of this feeling of, you know, whenever you have a discussion about Pulp Fiction, or whenever you mention that Pulp Fiction is, you know, in your top 10 or it's your favourite film, you kind of get this hate towards you where it's like, well, of course you like Pulp Fiction. It's, you know, obviously it's Tarantino's most famous film. As Goodfellas is possibly Scorsese's Pulp Fiction. Do you see?
I get it.
I can see the correlations in between.
There's a reason films and music and theatre shows and art pieces do well, and that's because they are really appealing. I love Wonderwall because it's a great song.
Yeah,
it's a fucking brilliant song. I don't love Wonderwall because everyone else loves Wonderwall.
Yeah,
I love Wonderwall because it's a fucking brilliant song. I love Goodfellas because it's a brilliant film. I love Cocoa Pops because they're a brilliant breakfast cereal. You know, there's a reason.
That's the greatest comparison ever.
There's a reason people like things. There's a reason something has broad appeal. Just because something has broad appeal doesn't mean that it's then shit and you have to shit all over it.
It's a social kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, once again, artsy fartsy critics who. Yeah,
it worked the same thing with Joker. Remember?
I've never seen Joker either.
But you've seen, you know, the kind of like.
Seen The Dark Knight and. We have a minor disagreement over The Dark Knight, don't we? But we shan't talk about that.
It's been mentioned like multiple times before.
We shan't touch on it, Charles, my friend.
It did stem from a conversation we had at work.
Good, I'm glad.
That's kind of where it came from, and
we'll stake away from that.
We won't talk about that.
So I'm sorry. That's 3 for 3 so far that have been utter horse shit, and they're not tuning into it. I don't know where these critics come from in terms of sort of social background, financial background, sort of family heritage. But as somebody who grew up where the organised crime lifestyle wasn't necessarily prevalent,
Yeah.
but was certainly an option for a lot of 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids to make money quickly.
Yeah.
I was watching this film going, fuck me, I'm glad it weren't me who did it. I'm glad it weren't me who did it. Well, I had friends who were dealing drugs and sort of, you know, beating shit out of people and doing the stuff that Henry Hill was doing, you know, setting fire to cars and doing really fucking dark stuff. I don't know where these critics come from, but I highly doubt they come from the kinds of backgrounds where that was an option for them, which may leave them feeling alienated from this kind of art. You know, if you don't grow up in an area where that's an option. I didn't grow up in 1980s Brooklyn or whatever, but you know,
that's where what kind of comes within these Scorsese films is that he grew up. He broke up in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I don't know about Brooklyn. It was definitely New York. It was definitely
he grew up in New York. Let's have a look before we carry on.
Yeah, it was definitely New York. I know that much. It was definitely New York.
He grew up in Queens, so his family went to Little Italy in Manhattan. So pretty much like he kind of grew up with all this kind of organized crime around him. So he made Mean Streets, which is probably his most personal film.
Mm.
You can tell when you watch it. You can feel like, you know, he's put his every ounce of blood, sweat and tears into that.
Yeah.
Like he does his other films, but that one, there's definitely like a personality to it and there's also a realism to it compared to these films. These are a bit more over the top. These are obviously based on real people.
Yeah.
But Mean Streets is a complete, you know, original idea, and it's based, like most of the characters are based on people that he's actually met or that he was aware of, and that people that existed in this organised crime kind of unit where he was from.
Well, this is what it is, and like I say, I don't mean to slack off the people giving these reviews. I'm sure they're lovely people, but they must be so disassociated from any kind of place where they would see this, because if you really feel like there's no adventure to this film, because this is how I saw these kind of these old time gangsters growing up, was they were the modern day pirates. Yeah. They were pirates of the modern day. They were fucking cool. They had the jewellery that a pirate would have, the sort of swagger that a pirate would have. All this really cool stuff. And like I say, even growing up where that was an option, I suppose, to get involved in those kinds of things, you still see, you know how a pirate ends, or you know how films about pirating end. And you see how films like these end. They end with people fucking dying or going to prison for a long time or having to go into witness protection. So you stay away from it. So yeah, for the third time, fuck that comment.
Are they not seeing the entertainment in it as well?
Of course not. I mean, they must see that it's an entertainment. I mean, they must see that it's an
I just don't get. I'm still trying hard to grasp what they mean by dramatically unsatisfying. It is the most dramatically satisfying film I've seen.
Possibly ever.
I mean, it's one of the all-time great gangsters. Probably the second greatest gangster film behind The Godfather. Not good.
Yeah, the Godfather.
The Godfather is obviously the almighty Godfather of.
Funnily enough,
the Godfather of organised crime films. Yeah. You know, and
because of detail, because of attention to detail. Attention to detail is so important in these kinds of films, and is so well sort of focused on in what Scorsese does. So look at this final bit we're getting to here, where he's talking to the camera. We have this perfect feeling. Henry Hill, we ran everything. We paid off cops, we paid off lawyers, we paid off judges. They had all this power.
This is something weird.
It's incredible.
We are on the courtroom scene, and I think this is the first time where Henry Hill actually addresses the camera.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
And it's a bit off-putting. It's kind of like, have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I haven't, known.
There's no spoilers for you anyway, but what's his name now? Fucking Kurt Russell. So Kurt Russell narrates the film. He also stars in it, right? For like one scene.
This bit here is also really important. That's taken from an old-time gangster film as well. The shooting down the barrel of the camera. I forget what it's from, but yeah, it's from an old-time gangster film about something. Yeah, here we go. Look at this, the ending bit. It's just fucking, it's all very dark. But carry on anyway. Sorry, I cut across you there.
So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is narrated by Kurt Russell, and by that I mean I use that term loosely. So, it's not really narrated. He has a few lines at the start. it kind of feels like it doesn't need to be there, and it's that reminded me that there is it's a bit unnecessary to just have that one kind of addressing kind of walking shot where he hasn't used it for the rest of the film. So it just kind of comes up nowhere, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, but then I think that surprise is really good. Also, to call it dramatically,
or do you think it's done in a way so as he narrates the film throughout the entire film, right? He's narrating it. So is Karen. Lorraine Bracco is narrating it. Do you think it kind of like comes to like the ending, because it's literally one of the last shots of the film? It's one of the last 3 shots of the film.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's kind of Scorsese's way of kind of bringing that narration to an end as well, as not just ending the story and the plot and everything? He's ending this narration in its own kind of form, where it comes off where Henry Hill is like, it's supposed to be Henry Hill retelling, it's his retelling of his entire kind of his entire life within this is crime in this crime.
I don't know. It's just incredible.
And his narration and Karen's narration is actually them on the stand, explaining all the kind of leading up to where they got then, and then that when he comes off the stand then and addresses the camera, that's the end of his narration.
Yeah,
I think I'm seeing it in a different way now.
I don't know.
I never really thought about it like that before.
I don't know. I just think, like, even though I did some slagging of it earlier today, I just think it's a bit faultless. And do you know what? Right, going back to what you said about being dramatically unsatisfying, do you know what? I think maybe it would be dramatically unsatisfying if we didn't find out what happened to him at the end. Obviously, we get the flashes of how the story ends for pretty much every character. We find out
the title cards and all that.
We find out what happens to Henry. We find out what happens to Paul.
We find out what happens to Jimmy.
Yeah. So
and Karen.
So dramatically unsatisfying is so unfair, because even though the film ends where it does, at least we fucking find out what happens to everyone,
Yeah.
So dramatic. So 3 for 3 bullshit. Fuck that comment.
Let's see if it's a 4 for 4.
Let's see if
it's a full 4. So this one's from filmcritic.com, and it says, compared to less nitpicky gangster fare, Goodfellas still falters.
Could you repeat the quote for me, please?
So it's compared to less nitpicky gangster fare, Goodfellas still falters.
In what?
I don't know.
In what? What is it faltering? Fucking hell. Oh,
so what we're getting here is that they're saying that this film is very nitpicky, which, I mean, it kind of has to be, if it's based on real events, it kind of has to choose its moments, it has to choose its dramatic moments.
It has to have a level of realism.
But still falters. What's it faltering? Like,
what is it faltering? Oh, fuck me. This is just.
It does feel like each kind of review or comment is the same thing, but just worded differently.
Oh, mate, yeah, exactly that. It's just fucking. It all just seems very short-sighted, very sort of hoity-toity. I'm a critic and I'm a film critic, and I know all these things about film, so I'm gonna slag this off without any real reason. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. I'm getting this. I need to find something to slag off.
Yeah,
and
because it is an almost perfect film.
I don't know where it falters. The only thing where it might falter is the age thing. The age thing.
And that is not even a big deal.
That don't even fucking matter.
Because it's not the same as The Irishman.
Because it's not the same as The Irishman where we're watching an 8-year-old bloke trying to kick the fuck out of someone. So
like a 20-year-old. I think we can settle that and say that's a 4 for 4.
That's 4 for 4.
Bullshit.
Fuck every single one of those, because they're all horse shit. I'm sorry, they are.
I was going to say, I think we've probably hit the highest record on these episodes of the most times we've sworn, but I think it fits perfectly within the film.
I think
choice,
for Goodfellas, I think it's about right. I do apologise for my language. Should my mother end up listening to this, I am really sorry, Mum. I promise you I don't usually talk like this. Should Charlie's mum listen to this as well, I am sorry. It's only because we've been watching Goodfellas and the F words and the S words have gotten in.
We're getting caught, like, next minute we're going to be kicking the shit out of people now, and we're going to be birding people, and we're going to be whacking people.
Smoking cannabis. And rolling doobies. And I don't know what's going to happen, Charlie, but this film is, it's just this film has just burrowed in our minds, only to create an incessant pain.
Well, so one thing I want to do is, you haven't heard what Martin Scorsese said about the Marvel films.
I haven't, no.
Because I want to wrap up this kind of episode with just a few bits of news, mainly containing Marvel films.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what we do.
Stuff.
But before I do that, I feel like, as we've done the Rotten reviews,
Yep.
you need to hear what Martin Scorsese says about Marvel films, because I'm not
a big Marvel fan. No, do you know what I fucking loved growing up? I loved Spider-Man. Spider-Man was like the most I ever got into that kind of stuff. Spider-Man was my favourite. And I loved X-Men as well. Yeah. X-Men was super cool. Wolverine was fucking sick.
These are films or the comic books?
More the films, I guess. But then I never saw the film Wolverine. I just saw two of the X-Men films, and I saw all of the Spider-Man films. And do you know what actually was surprisingly good? Venom.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked.
You like Venom?
I loved Venom. I was actually really shocked by how good Venom was. It probably helped that the two leading characters were Brits. Not in like a Brexit means Brexit way, but in a,
because Brexit does mean Brexit.
Because Brexit, for anyone listening, Brexit does indeed mean Brexit.
By the way, we do not endorse Brexit.
By the way, absolutely no endorsement.
Just
no endorsement of Brexit. Fuck Brexit. But kind of moving away from the subject of Brexit.
Move back on to the...
like the boy Riz Ahmed, who plays...
Riz Ahmed, Four Lions.
Yeah. Riz Ahmed from Four Lions had this incredible, beautiful rap career as MC Riz. Did you not know that?
I did not know that. That is
absolutely incredible. He did rap battles for a little while. He released a few really, really great songs, really funny. There's one tune that he did, I forget the name of it, which was, do you know what, I'll show you after the podcast. Absolutely fucking outstanding. But yeah, Riz Ahmed and Tom Hardy, two Brits in America playing American characters, or people who were supposed to be American, was fucking brilliant. And the switch over between moments of comedy and moments of horror in Venom, I loved Venom.
Are you excited for the second one then?
Yes, I am. I will be I've never actually gone to the cinema to watch. Listen to fucking how old I am. Cinema.
This is the thing, right? Cinema. So Martin Scorsese says the Marvel films aren't real cinema.
Okay. Why? Why not? Does he expand
He said, honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can in the circumstances. They're just theme parks. It isn't cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. How do you feel about that? Because you haven't seen any of the MCU films, have you? You haven't seen Iron Man or The Avengers or whatever.
I'm not big on the Marvel thing, but I think that's a bit pissy of him to say. I think that's kind of him shitting on someone else's creative identity. I don't like that. I think that's piss poor. As a bloke who probably had a lot of his ideas turned down as a younger fella, I think to go and then shit on something that, because this is the thing, Marvel films, as much as they might not be,
it's kind of poetic cinema.
Yeah, as much as they might not be applicable to like everyday life and stuff. Like, I'm never gonna be bitten by a spider and be able to, like, shoot things at my hands and go pew pew and all that kind of business. They're still so relatable. So growing up as, I was sound growing up, but like having mates who looked a little bit like Peter Parker or whatever.
Yeah.
And to know that, there was that almost that hope. There.
Maybe he will get bitten by a spider.
Maybe one of my mates will get bitten by a spider and turn into Spider-Man. That'd be fucking sick. But yeah, I think that's really
I think
pissy of him to say.
they're definitely there to entertain, and I think that
I'm not the great defender in terms of the Marvel films and superhero films generally, but that's really fucking shitty.
Yeah.
That's really shitty. I don't like that one bit. That's him pissing on somebody's, sort of intellectual property. And do you know what I mean? If you wrote a poem, Charlie,
Yeah.
and I read it and I went, well, this poem doesn't convey human emotions or whatever he said.
Yeah.
I wouldn't then piss on it and go, Charlie, this poem doesn't create, this poem doesn't make me feel anything. I wouldn't then sit down and say, I'm very pleased with how you've written it and you've done a good job on this, but... Because it's that but, isn't it?
It's not poem. It's not a poem. It's just
not
words on a
poem.
page.
Yeah,
that's kind of what he's saying. But I'm a massive fan of the Marvel films. Especially some of the new, the newer films where Kevin Feige, who's the kind of the all maker of every,
Yeah.
he's the fucking guy. He is big boss man.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's not the big boss.
He's
man,
not the big boss man, but
WWF?
he is the creative director now, I believe, of Marvel.
Well, that's a pretty big boss.
He is the fucking big boy of Marvel.
The big boy.
So I think that as art, they're fucking perfect. They're near perfect. I can understand what he gets by a theme park because technically I can kind of see the metaphor in that.
Yeah,
but I don't agree that it's not real cinema because
it's just pissing on someone. It's just really
that's saying okay, it's a bad example, but if I took a picture on my phone and then a photographer took a photo on their camera, and they said you're not a real photographer, they are right. They are 100% right. Just like he's saying it's not real cinema, but they're still both fucking photos.
Yeah.
Just as the same as these are both films. Right?
Do you know what?
That's possibly the worst kind of way to think of it, but that's how I see it. They're still the same thing regardless of who made it. And also, you've got these amazing directors like Scott Derrickson, who did Doctor Strange, this great horror director who unfortunately isn't coming back for the sequel to create differences and whatnot.
Yeah.
You've got James Gunn, one of an amazing visual director. He fucking knows how to make a great ensemble flick. John Favreau, the list goes on. Taika Waititi, one of the most interesting directors coming into Hollywood right now.
I just think he's really fucking he's overstepping a mark there.
Yeah.
Because like I say, as much as I love Goodfellas, as much as I love Casino, as much as I love Wolf of Wall Street, I never wanted to be Jordan Belfort. I never wanted to be Henry Hill. I never wanted to be Sam Rothstein.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Spider-Man.
Yes.
I wanted to be the Wolverine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
regardless of their kind of...
Regardless of how they may not be relatable and how they may not perfectly convey human emotion.
you don't... Did you ever relate to Spider-Man? I feel like everyone
I fucking... Of course, yeah, man.
I still relate to Spider-Man in some ways,
Yeah, Spider-Man was fucking great. And, one of the fucking... when I was in year 6, shout out Mr. Taylor, should you be listening to this as well. He put on like a leaving card for me when I left primary school.
Yeah.
He was like, you've done very well, Tom, all this business. And he said, but with great power comes great responsibility. I had that told to me as like a fucking 11-year-old.
Like you had
kid.
your own Uncle Ben, Peter
Like
Parker.
man. Like I was 11 years of age. Do you know what I mean? Like as much as he might be right, he might well be right. Yeah, it might not perfectly convey human emotion but at the end of the day, fuck me, these people aren't meant to be human. They're called superheroes for a reason.
I think
it
does convey the emotion really well. If you've seen Endgame
which I haven't. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to say fuck you?
I was going to say spoilers, but...
Thanos kills everyone?
That is an Infinity War.
Okay, sorry.
Endgame is them trying, the remainder of the Avengers trying to find the stones, Infinity Stones, to reverse what Thanos did. He wiped out half the universe with the click of his fingers. He collected all these stones, whatnot, right?
I'm assuming... Yeah, spoil it for me, my love. I'm not going to watch it.
It's a spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Endgame. I mean, if you haven't seen Endgame at this point, I mean, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, if you're
It's
interested.
been out almost a year now.
Yeah, I even feel I'm like I said, I'm not even that big on Marvel. I've really backed it in this conversation, but I'm not even that big on Marvel. So yeah, spoil it for me, Charles.
It's this whole thing. So basically, the entire MCU is built right at this point. This Infinity Saga, these all 22, 23 films. It starts off with Iron Man, and Robert Downey Jr. is the face of Marvel at this point. Still is in everyone else's minds. He'll never you'll never think twice. He'll always kind of be in the background, just there.
I don't know if he is for me.
So
I'm sorry to cut across again, but I don't know if he is. He's not their biggest attraction for me, because would it be fair in saying Iron Man is Marvel's version of Batman?
He is, yeah. Well, he's a genius billionaire, playboy philanthropist, isn't he?
Yeah, never really got that. Well, I'd never really liked the Batman
It's the whole
films.
point because he's kind of like the glue that holds the MCU together.
Yeah.
And he passes on his kind of mantle to Peter Parker, who then is possibly going to be the new face of Marvel, And they delve in that in the recent Spider-Man film, because it comes out after Endgame.
Okay.
Tony Stark dies in Endgame.
Right.
He sacrifices himself to save the universe, blah, 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 blah. But this kind of thing where it's like you've kind of followed this guy. He's been in almost every Marvel film. He's been at least half of them, even if it's just a cameo. And then him saying that it doesn't convey emotional, psychological experiences with other human beings. Thousands, probably millions of people cried when he died.
I mean, I can guarantee you when bloody hell. I've never been more angry in my life, probably, than the scene when where Spider-Man. Or no, I tell you what, I'll switch that. I've never been happier than when Spider-Man is about to get, or Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire is about to get beaten up by the bully in the hole.
Flash Thompson, yeah.
Yeah, Flash.
Is it the one where he has the spider sense and then
he doesn't even realise he has it.
Yeah.
And he moves out the fucking way and he's like, whoa, that's it.
They call that the Peter Tingle in the new Spider-Man.
Please tell me that's a fucking joke.
But the thing is, though, it's a joke. It's a joke made by Aunt May. So she refers to it as his Peter Tingle. Hopefully, but his next appearance, it's fucking spider sense. But I think it's a wonderful little joke because he's still a teenager. So he's kind of got this, these stupid little...
And he does. And he's
Peter
so
Tingle
likeable.
is supposed to be kind of like...
It's a Willy joke, isn't it? It's
this kind of puberty,
It's a joke about his winky.
It's a joke about jizz.
Which are important jokes to be made.
And obviously Spider-Man does shoot webs.
Yeah. Fuck you, Martin Scorsese. as much as you've created some fantastic films, you've never made dick jokes.
I just want to say, there's one bit of news I just want to mention, and it's Thor. That's really weird to say. It's called Thor: Love and Thunder.
And I'm assuming it's number 4.
It's the fourth one. It's actually the first, apart from the Avengers. It's the first of like the solo kind of characters. He's the first one to have his 4th film.
Really?
It's directed by Taika Waititi. Christian Bale is going to be the main villain.
Okay, Christian Bale. He's good. He's good at what he does.
wonder,
He's another Welshman.
Although he hates being referred to as a Welshman. He
You're
considers himself English, apparently.
What a turn! I'm fucking English.
I think he was either born.
And he's a turncoat bastard.
I think he might have been born somewhere like Pembrokeshire.
Well, I hope so, because if an Englishman went abroad and said, "Oh no, I'm American," fuck off, geez. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to hear it.
Because I've been wondering this for a while, actually, if Christian Bale is in fact...
He's Welsh, isn't he?
He's an English actor, it says.
English?
He was born in Haverfordwest in Pembrokeshire.
Which would be Wales?
So that's West Wales.
Right. West Wales? That's miles away from England.
It's not far from where we are. So it's probably about 2 hours away.
Wow. And he's English, is he?
So he is English. His nationality is English. His citizenship is UK and US. So he was born there, but he's got English parents, and he lived in. I believe he lived in England as well. So he was just born in Wales. Maybe they were on a family trip, and
he
he was
out,
like
little Christian,
yeah.
Little Christian's gonna
And
pop out.
he popped out doing fucking press ups, ready to do Batman Begins.
Yeah. Do you know what though? I think that's another thing. While we're touching on that, I never really got any of the DC things. You know what I mean? I never really got the thing with Batman because I couldn't relate to a multimillionaire. I never really got the thing with Superman because I'm not a Martian from a different country, and Kryptonite. I don't even know. Does Kryptonite exist? Is that a real thing?
What, in real life?
Yeah.
No.
Oh right. Well, this is what I mean. Like, there's not one thing.
It made me think it was real.
There's not one thing in the world that could kill me. Like, there's loads of shit that could kill me. But Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Oh my god. Do you know what I mean? And like fucking Wolverine and X-Men. Like, we've all felt a little bit weird, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like, there's always been a point in our lives where we're like, oh fuck, like, am I super weird? Is that why no one wants to be my mate? And like, that's what Wolverine feels like, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you must have done it as well, Charlie. Like, the first time you get given like plastic knives, you put them in like the
Yeah, you put them in your knuckles and pretend you're Wolverine.
And
I used to
fucking pretend you're Wolverine, innit?
I used to like run around climbing walls thinking I was Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah.
So all I wanted to be, I was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I wanted to be
I'm Daredevil, but I actually could see.
I don't know, man. I've never seen. That's another one. I'm really sorry. I've never seen Daredevil either.
But yeah, so
yeah. So I think Scorsese's wrong with that, unfortunately. I'd love to sit here and defend him.
But we've spent the entire hour and a half doing so with Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, with Goodfellas,
I feel like because I mentioned it earlier, and you said you've never heard of these things, and I just felt like I wanted to know your opinion on it.
He's wrong, bless him. He's not right. He's unfortunately very wrong, because at the end of the day, it's these films have such a massive outreach. These films, brighten up kids who are getting shit at school, people who are getting picked on, all that kind of business. It brightens up their fucking days. Going home and watching Spider-Man and saying, "Oh fuck, like that could be me one day."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? One day I could practice at, judo or whatever, and I could be like Peter Parker one day. Obviously,
It's just different kind of art. It's
different kind of art. That's what it is.
It's like the same as different forms of any type of creative. It's like it'd be like him if he was in an indie band, for example, and someone showed him a Rihanna track, and he was like, "That's not really music."
Yeah,
and you get that whole kind of thing.
Yeah,
with,
it's
people hate pop music, or people hate heavy music, or people hate all these rock music, and it still doesn't not make it. It's still fucking music.
It's still fucking music.
Still films.
It's still art.
They're all the same thing. You're all films, regardless of who's made it. They're both perfect, all beautifully crafted films. They should leave it at that. There's no need for these these kind of.
I don't watch anime. I don't watch anime. That's not.
But you can appreciate.
That's not out of me fucking hating anime. That's not because I think people who make anime are not trying to make like a statement, and like anime is wrong to watch or whatever, or you can't really create. You can't sort of fuel human emotion or whatever he said. But I'm not gonna shit on it.
Yeah,
I'm still not gonna fucking shit on it. I'm not gonna, I don't tune
in. It's still art that someone else has created.
Yeah, someone's created.
So you either enjoy it or you don't.
This is someone's love child. Do you know what I mean? Someone could have spent 10 years trying to make the perfect piece of anime, and I'm not gonna even if I don't like it, I'm not gonna sit there and shit on it, because at the end of the day, that's someone's creative identity, innit? That's someone's creative ideology.
And it kind of feels like he's not really giving a.
He's not giving it a fair try.
He's not really giving it a fair try. I think he's part of that. He is part of that generation. I'm not going to say boomer, because I think that's
boomer.
That's an unfair kind of comment to give. I think he comes from that generation of where the kind of films he was brought up using, they were kind of more like, they were just films. And I see it as more of like, okay, you got films and you got movies. So movies for me are more like this kind of like this modern era of these kind of like sequels and like superhero films and just all these mass entertainment. It's just there for you to just sit there, eat your popcorn, drink your drink, and just fucking switch off for 2 to 2.5 hours.
Switch off.
And then if you really want to delve into like a really hard gripping story, or like just some beautiful cinematography and like great blocking and great pacing and structure.
Go and fucking watch a Scorsese
film. Go and watch a film like a Scorsese film, or a Tarantino film, or a Fellini film, or a Paul Thomas Anderson film, or
Yeah, something else. This is,
there's all these great directors. They're all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
So don't kind of. I think it's unfair for him to call it a theme park, even though they have turned some of them into theme parks.
Yeah, but then that's for sort of general appeal and stuff, and it might be a theme park. He might be right with that, but to say you can't connect with it, to say that it doesn't show humanity and all this business, and it doesn't show human emotion that you can really feel, is just he's just wrong. He's just totally wrong. And this is coming from a lad who. I was interested in playing football and like doing all the fucking quote unquote normal boy stuff, and I still fucking related with it. Yeah, even if I could still look at it and go, "Oh shit, yeah, this is banging." Fucking, why can't he? Like, I don't know. Like I say, I suppose he probably comes from a different school, but
yeah,
it's what it is. Like,
but yeah, with that, I think we could end this.
Yeah,
and
I
this
think
perfect little ending.
Perfect little ending. Yeah,
Goodfellas.
I'd like to say thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for having me, my friend.
It's been good. It's been good, fella.
It's been good, fella. It's been very good.
That was my last shitty joke.
You're going to like this guy. He's a good fella.
He's a good fella. He's a very wise guy.
He's a very wise guy. No, on a more serious note, thank you very much for having me on here, mate.
Yeah, man, it's good fun.
And yeah, I thank you very much. I can't wait to do it again, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited for that prospect.
Right, well, with that, thanks for listening to the Conversationist podcast. You can check us out on Facebook, Conversationist Podcast, Instagram, the same, Twitter at TCI_podcast, and check out Hill Rat Productions on YouTube for more videos and different channels and other stuff that you can get into. Yeah, so that was Goodfellas, and I'm Charlie Pitson.
I'm Tom Cocklin.
Thanks for coming on again, man. And
no problem, brother. Thank you for having
listening.
me. Thank you all for listening. Thank you very